Okay, guys, here we go with part 2 of Farmhouse Decor Christmas in July. Hit the comment, like, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Let's see what we got today. Here comes DIY number 1, Rudolph in the barn. Okay, guys, here we go. First project. I got this little deer head at the Hobby Lobby, 50% off. And this little hanger door I got from the Dollar Tree in the $3 section probably about 2-3 years ago. Took all the stickers off, all the labels off, tore it all apart, and gave it one coat of plaster paint in chalk paint Waverly. Now, this barn red, that was by Apple Barrel. I'm painting the insides of that, and you can see I used sponges and paintbrushes and daubers, and oh my gosh, it was a hot mess. But after about an hour of painting, which I didn't put you through to suffer, I'm getting that painter's tape off, and here I will slow it down to show you how beautiful it looks. We had one little boo-boo, but guess what? That's where that handle goes that was on there. Yes, ma'am, so it all worked out. I'm going to give it a little distress in here with the burnt umber by Apple Barrel, and I'm just going to start with my little chippy brush from the Dollar Tree and go all over that white, and then I will hit the red too, and then I just go all ham, and there we go. But it looks beautiful. Now, I also have in Waverly chalk paint there some mineral and some sandstone. I'm going to do the old toothbrush splatter technique. I'm going to dip my toothbrush in first the mineral chalk paint, and I'm going to kind of dab some of it off so it's not totally full, and I'm going to flick away from me. Always make sure you flick away from yourselves, guys, or you will be the one with the paint. And I wasn't the one with the paint, but my table got all the paint and not my door. But, you know, hey, it all worked out. Now I'm just I'm just sticking the toothbrush in the bottle. That's how I roll. That's the sandstone. We're going to give a little bit of that, so it's got 2 little shades of grayish brown there. Now I want some of my dark burnt umber on there. So I stick my toothbrush in, get a little bit of that on there, and you can see it's going everywhere but on the door. See, look at that, all over the mat over there. But you know what? That's okay. Doesn't she look so pretty? This is a barn door. Ain't she cute? Yes, she is. I was very happy with that. Now our reindeer that we painted in Waverly plaster. We're going to paint the head in hazelnut, the antlers in truffle, and the nose in imperial red. Now, I have this little extra wood piece ornament from the Dollar Tree here that I've had in my stash for a while. I'm going to take that snowflake off. A piece of that faux bark came off, so I'm going to use my Titebond Quick and Thick multi-purpose glue, and I'm going to glue that little piece of bark back on. Now, I'm going to paint it in cashew. It does make that wood round a little bit darker than it actually is. So I'm going to paint all that up. And then I'm going to dry it up, and we're going to use some wood glue and some hot glue for that temporary and permanent hold. And I'm going to glue the red nose onto the bigger wood chunk, and then we're going to glue the bigger wood chunk onto the reindeer. I just wanted to have a little bit more depth, a little bit more 3D, kind of cute. I got some inspiration off of Pinterest, and I was just kind of doing my own thing. Now, you noticed on my antlers there, I kind of distressed it some with the hazelnut color that I used for the head. I kind of distressed the antlers with that to kind of give it some different shades. When I found out where I wanted to glue my antlers, I kind of traced around them so I knew where to put my wood glue and my hot glue. I'll hold that on. Bees is supervising over there, making sure I'm doing it right, which he's telling me, yep, nope, Mom, nope, ain't right, nope. There we go. Okay, so antlers are on. I am not worried at all about the back. Who cares? This is for me anyway. Okay, so now we're going to draw some eyes. I'm doing those teardrop eyes. I'm trying to practice my painting skills and faces, not just dots and smiles. So I painted the teardrops, and then I gave the little underneath part, and then the little dots, and no, it's not perfect. I'm going to use my white paint marker to paint those little U shapes underneath there, like the... Is that the pupil part? I don't know. The white part of your eye, the actual eyeball part? I don't know. And once I get both sides of those done with my white Posca paint marker, I'm just going to take my black permanent marker by Jot from the Dollar Tree. And before I do that black, though, I'm going to make sure that white is really dry, or it's just going to ooze all into each other. And I'm going to paint the top part of that, and I'm also going to outline the white with the black as well. Once the white is dried real good too, I'm going to go back over it. And I think I gave that white about 3 coats with that permanent marker. But I did not go after it with paint. Now the black part, since this was bigger, I colored it in with the black marker. But then to kind of reduce that shine, I went to the Apple Barrel just straight up black. And I painted the inside black part of the eyes. I didn't mess with the white. I wasn't going there because that would have been a disaster. But I did paint the black part, and I didn't do too bad. It looks okay. Yeah, see, I'm happy. I'm okay. Once that dried real good, I traced and outlined everything, and I'm taking my white paint marker now and just putting that dot at the top of the eyes. And here comes Moose now going to help me out. Goodness gracious. There's the little detail that I put on the nose like I did my other reindeer. And then I got some details for the ears. And now I'm just doing some little doodles and stoodles and dots around the antlers. It'll slow down here in just a second. I know it's going kind of fast here, guys. But when I do show you something, I do slow it down, I promise. And you can always slow it down on the little gear wheel in settings up there at the top of your screen, I think it is. And you can slow any video down that you watch. I gave her some eyebrows, and now she has some little eyelashes there. And then you can see all the little squiggly doodlies I did on her antlers. Just giving a little whimsy. I like the whimsy stuff. Whimsy stuff is fun. Remember, these are a few of my favorite things. I like whimsy stuff. Then I decided she needed some pink ballet slipper in her ears. And I just took a regular old, like, spongy there. Dipped it in, and I'm just pouncing it on to pounce. Once I get that done, I take the black jot marker again, and I go over that black on her ears just to make that pop back up a little bit, and I make it also a little bit thicker of a line as well. And there she is. Isn't she cute? And there's our barn door. We're going to set her on the barn door like she's looking out the barn door. And you can see I'm taking my pencil again to trace where I need the glue. Yeah, that doesn't work out for me. I put the glue in the total opposite place of where I was supposed to put it. So this becomes a hot mess, but I don't show you all that. See, I'm trying to figure out, well, why is the glue over there? That's because I didn't put the glue in the right spot. So I'm wiping it off. I figured it all out. Put glue there where it's needed. Put glue where it was needed, and there we go. Okay, now at the bottom of our barn door, Moose is going to help us put a wreath here together. Actually, he's going to take my stuff and swat at it and chew it off and run off with it. I'm going to take this little, the fir kind of pine, and I'm going to go all the way around my little wreath here. You can tell it's a very well-used wreath. See, he just took off with some of my floral. Did you see him do that? And I'm going to go all the way around here. I really like this floral. This was some cool pine fir. It had little pine cones in it, too, so that worked out perfect. And I'm going to put the pine needles up there in there, too. I put the holly in it, didn't like it, so here, Moose, you can have that. I yanked that back out. But I do have the fir pine and then the regular pine needles and some pine cones in there. I'm going to take these little frosted berries. All a bit of this I had in my stash. Thank you, Shelly. And I'm going to glue those berries in just little groups of 2, just randomly here and there. And I just bought that little fine tip glue gun. I don't know if I like it better than my pen or not. And then I put a jute string on this, like, we're going to hang it from the door. And then I decide, well, where are you going to hang it from? So let's just glue it on the door, you goofball. So I cut the hanger off, and I put my glue on in the correct spot this time. And I put it on the door. There we go. I was so happy with it. And now this bow came off another project, and I just ripped it off because I was not happy with the project. That was the ornament that I made for, I can't remember when, but it was a horrible looking ornament. Oh, that was supposed to look like a bell, but it ended up looking like an ornament on the 12 Days of Christmas on Bell Day. Yeah, that did not look like a bell. So I ripped that whole thing apart. So I just reused that bow. I'm adding some of that pine and fir that was in there. So it goes along with our wreath down below. And there she is. Isn't she lovely? Guys, one of my favorite all-time cartoons when I was a wee little tyke was Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and I've watched it every year since. Oh, I couldn't wait for that to come on. I'm just making a little jute twine loop at the back, and I'm gluing it on. Once I get that glued on real good, I take some extra duct tape. I stick that on there, and guys, this has not failed me yet. This works like a charm every time, and it is not going anywhere. There she is. Isn't she so cute? I love her. This is my absolute favorite. Here's just a couple little quick pics. All right, guys, on to DIY number 2. Just some cute little ornaments from Dollar General. Okay, here's project number 2. So, of course, we've seen these at Dollar General for $1. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Cricut weeding tool here that is great for a multitude of things. I'm going to get those staples started because they were stapled to the chicken wire. And then once I got them pulled out, I then took my pliers to rip them all the way out. I'm just sanding the back and the front of the little cow to get rid of kind of the roughed up where the holes were and all that good stuff. Now, I found this red and black buffalo plaid that you know I love at Hobby Lobby the other day. This is something new. I did line both of those up. I used my very dull rotary cutter to cut a chunk of that out. I'm going to Mod Podge these guys on. And Mr. Moo Cow got lots of Mod Podge, so he got to share with Mr. Chicken and Mr. Pig. And I'm just making sure I especially get down. Now you can see I'm taking a wipey right here, and I'm kind of getting in between the legs and the edges because I don't want the Mod Podge on the edges of the animal. You'll see why here in a minute. I got all those glued down. I'm going to my Cricut design space to design. I just did some text. I did this completely on my own. Took some white vinyl. I'm using my paper transfer tape. And this one says, bacon a list. Guess who's going on that one? And yeah, we're having a hot mess disaster right here, folks. Yeah. I don't know why I had trouble sticking, but it was having trouble sticking. So that one said, bacon a list. And this one says, chicken it twice. I found the chicken it twice in a photo on Cricut Design Space, but I made up the bacon a list. Because it did say make it a list, chicken it twice. But I thought, ooh, if I put the pig with it, bacon a list. Oh, yeah. And then the moo cow, I just put a mooey and bright. So now that those guys, just making sure that the Mod Podge was dry, we're going to cut them apart. You can see I got some fire. I like fire. So I'm going to cut some extra of the white scrapping paper off. So there's not a lot. And then I'm going to take my lighter, and this didn't go as well as I thought it would. It didn't go bad, but I've done this technique with like napkins, and that goes quick, like boom. This being, I guess, a thicker cardstock, and it also had like a shiny film on it. And yes, I've got water near me. Don't panic, don't panic. But anyway, it worked pretty good. I just took a small fingernail file, a small emery board from the Dollar Tree. This helped you get kind of in between little tiny spaces like his legs. And you saw how I was showing you there was some white left on the edge. That's where I did not get Mod Podge off. So that's why I was trying to wipe that off earlier so that the paper, when it burned, didn't stick to it, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so now that I've got everything filed and sanded, I'm using my iron to reseal them back down. And now I'm showing you this white stuff that somehow appeared on it after I did that. Is there a wrong side to parchment paper? I didn't think there was. I've never had that happen. So I thought, let me put another coat of Mod Podge on. I got to seal it anyway. Well, that didn't work. You can even see it from here that there's white on top of the pig. So let's try something else. We're not going to admit defeat yet. I took my antique wax. I distressed those really good, and it ended up being a happy accident. They looked so good. It took that shine off of it, and I got those edges good, and it looked so good. Then I went to the frames with my antique wax by Waverly. So you can kind of tell the difference there that it did darken it up a little bit and took that bright white shine out of it. Looks more farmhousey to me. Now, I'm just taking a regular stapler. I tried to use, you see my bigger stapler up there in the corner, but I didn't have any nails that were small enough so that they wouldn't go through all the way through to the other side. So I had no choice but to use my regular stapler, which you could see I had a grand time with that. But I got those staples in for the most part. At least they're not poking out the front like my big one was doing. And I'm just taking bits of my paper that I'm using to paint on and covering, putting glue on top of the staples and then put some paper on top of that just to kind of give it some little extra security. Now, I wanted some ribbon on it, and this is some wired ribbon that I had in my stash. It looks like it's from Walmart. And it's black and red, and it's got white. Well, there's that bright white again, but we're going to fix that. I'm showing you how to make a finger bow right here. You can slow this down if you want. I'm making 3 loops. You come around, down, under, over, through the loop. Remember, you can slow it down. Go watch Kathy Jo if you want to know how to make a good bow. She the bow queen right there. So, yep, right there I was showing you it was from Walmart. I'm going to just angle the ends of my bow. Now, what I'm going to do, I was going to go and start antique waxing them, but I thought, no, I better glue them down first before I do that. So I get a big old blob of hot glue there. I've got all 3 bows on. I got some jingle bells because we need some bells with some farm animals, right? So I'm just gluing those bells in the middle. Now that I got that done, now I can take my chippy brush and my antique wax, and I'm just going all over these bows. And I don't have to worry about if I get it on the animal or the frame or the white vinyl. It doesn't matter because I'm just dirtying it all up. I even flip it over to the back. I'm making sure the back gets all dirty and grungy. Even the backs of the tails. I'm even going to get inside the loops just like this right here because I want that whole thing to look grungy. And look, you can tell a huge difference compared to that other one that's up there right above it. And that look, I was just so pleased and happy with that. It looks like dirty old farmhouse. It's perfect. Exactly what I like. I'm just taking the end of another brush here and I'm kind of rolling and twisting the end so that since this was wired, it kind of just sticks out and I didn't want it to do that. So, and I also put some antique wax on my bell. So see there, you can see the difference. I was really, really happy with that. So that all ended up being a happy accident. That white stuff that ended up on my animals from using the iron. These are totes adorbs. Bacon a list and chicken it twice. Everything is mooey and bright. Guys, we're almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to have a giveaway as soon as we hit that. I know I said that at 500, but I promise you at this 1,000, we're going to be giving away a box of goodies. So you guys stick around, share with your friends, tell them to subscribe. Cost absolutely nothing. Quick and easy DIY number 3. Okay, this is one I did in a 5 under 5 video. I wanted to throw this in here in case you haven't seen that. I got those clay pots from the Dollar Tree, of course, during the summertime. I'm taking my white that's plaster, Waverly chalk paint, and then I've got that Imperial Red. I'm painting one of my bells with that plaster, and then I'm painting 2 of them red. I also had one of those little metal cap things from 4th of July from Dollar Tree, and I painted that with the plaster color as well. Now, I've got just some regular old silver jingle bells there. I tied some jute twine to the end of it, hot gluing it to make sure the knot just stays in place. I'm going to tie my string pretty long. And I'm go ahead and I'm doing this to all 3 of them. So I went ahead and did all 3 so they're the same length. Putting some tape on the end of that jute twine so I can put it through the hole that's in the bottom of the pot, which is now the top of the pot. And I'm going to string it up through, but I don't pull it all the way up to the bottom of the pot or top of the pot, whatever you want to call it, because I want it to hang a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm pulling it, trying to judge where I want it, and I tie a knot so that it doesn't go all the way up to the top of the bell and it hangs a little bit. See there? I just tied an extra knot in the middle of the jute twine. Now I'm going to take all 3 of those, kind of hang them the way I want them. I did cut the 3 jute twines different lengths. Now there's 2 holes in this bottle cap thing. I only needed 1. So I just took some painter's tape and put it on the back, and then the caulking, and put the caulking in. I let it dry overnight. This is the next day that I did this part. And I took some tape again. I put all 3 through, taped it, and then put it through the hole. So you can see now my bells are on. I made some vinyl on my cricket. Cowbells ring, are you listening? Hear the moose up in the pasture. Okay, anyway, and then I took my antique Waverly wax and I distressed the bells. I distressed the inside of the cap. Don't leave yet, guys. The best is yet to come. Oh, I'm telling you, this last one is the best one. Whoo! Okay, again, put a ribbon on the back of this. And then I left that paper on the back in hopes that it would stick better than just being metal with the hot glue, and we know metal and hot glue don't work. Anyway, so I took that and then I put a bow on top of it. And cowbells ring, are you listening? This is in my 5 under 5 Happy Heifer Christmas video. Go check that out on my channel if you have not seen that. Oh, and almost forgot to remove the tape. But there she is. Isn't it cute? And lastly, DIY number 4, moo bells. Okay, look at those 2 big, huge cowbells. Thank you, Shelly. They were 15 bucks a piece. I'm sure she got them cheaper. These are awesome. Now, I'm going to take those 2 red bells that were off that door hanger that we put the 3rd bell on that first ornament that I can't figure out what it is. And I'm going to hang those was a little clip hook inside. So I just tied some jute on it and hanged it from the inside on a hook that was on the inside. I know this is going 90 miles an hour. I'm sorry. Now I'm just taking a variety of ribbon. That was the tails I made right there. So you noticed I made them extra long. This is going to be a pretty big, long piece. So you can see my variety of ribbons. You were seeing me a little while ago, schmooze and woos and ooh, so soft. That is a flannel ribbon that I got from Michael's on clearance after Christmas 2 years ago. You can see I've got some Dollar Tree ribbon. I have some Walmart ribbon. The big wide cow print ribbon came from Hobby Lobby in the spring. Yeah, I bought that mesh looking jute stuff. That stuff right there came from Walmart just the other day. That is the one thing I have bought. There's the cow ribbon from springtime at Hobby Lobby. This other red stuff, that came from Walmart at some point. The skinny cow came from my friend Shelly. The barn ribbon came from the Hobby Lobby. The barn ribbon came from Dollar Tree. The Merry Christmas ribbon came from Walmart as well. I just got that the other day. I'm taking an extra strip. I tied it, and now I'm tying my tail to I made a big messy bow, basically is what I did. Big, huge, gigantic, messy bow. I'm sorry that was fast. You can slow it down in YouTube somehow if you want to. I'm going to tie it around. I've got the bells where they are going to hang one lower than the other. And so I tied this big bow to the top bell. Now I'm just making sure I'm setting fire on my ribbon to make sure it doesn't frizz anymore. The ones that were small and wired, I took my pencil and curled them like you've seen me do in some other videos if you've seen them. I decided I want some more of those rusty bells right there in the middle. So I take 3 of those guys, hot glue them there right in the middle of my bow. And then I kind of glue the bells together to how to hold it together. Fluff this for out. Look at that, guys. Got those bells from Shelly. She liked them so much, I think she took them back. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. Make sure to be here next Sunday. And you never know what's going to happen.